Hey guys, Ray from LoveYourRV.com back with you once again, and today I'm going to give you 20 upgrades on reviews I've done, product reviews I've done in the past, sort of let you know how they've performed and if there's been any problems with them. These ones will go back maybe as far as 3 years and as early as 6 months ago, so these won't be my latest reviews, but some that I've used for a while, you know, kind of put through the test over time, so that I can report back how they've held up for our camping. So let's get to it. A bit of a rainy day today, so a good time to do something like this. Number one is our SeeLevel II tank monitor system I installed. Not much has changed since my review a year ago of it. Our fresh and gray still read very accurately, but the galley and the black, they often are very inaccurate. Like it says 100% on both, and in fact they're probably sitting at about 20 or 30% right now. So I have gone in there and really flushed out those tanks and cleaned the tanks and got both of them working properly, but they refouled again. I guess like too much crud builds up in them. Not really a problem for me, as most important is we're boondocking. I'm interested in the fresh, and the shower tank is usually the first one to fill up, so I'm usually worried about that one. The black, I can tell by the sound it makes when I flush how close we are to fill, and the galley rarely ever overfills because it's just the kitchen sink and dishes. Battery monitors worked fine on it. All the switches work fine. It's a really good high quality panel. So I think if I had to do it again, I may buy one with less sensors. I'd probably forego even putting a sensor on the black tank. But overall, I'm happy with it. It's really good to have that fresh water ability to see what level you're at. And it drops in 4% increments, so I get 25 different levels of how much fresh water we have. Number two is my backup camera, wireless backup camera from a company called TadiBrothers. So that's been in there for almost a year and a half now, no problems. Been through a ton of rain, dust, all kinds of stuff. It's held up strong. No problems with the mount up there. And then on the inside, what I did is I ended up mounting it above my rear view mirror. Just kind of nice when the trailer's hooked up. It acts like a rear view mirror to me. I don't use it too much for backing up other than making sure I don't run into any obstacles. Usually Ann does the directions on the backup for me, but I really like it as a rear camera. The big downfall for me is the display quality. I don't know if it's the camera or the display. Like, it's plenty big enough, but you see how it's kind of washed out looking, like it's oversaturated or something, or the contrast is off. So it's not really sharp and clear, which for a backup camera it works fine, but as a rear view, I can tell the car's there, but it's not totally sharp. I love the wide angle though. I can see both lanes. When I'm on a freeway, I can see all the lanes all back there. I can almost see a car right beside me on the back, so it really takes away any blind spots from the trailer, so I love it for that. And the signal's pretty solid even though it's wireless. The only times it gimps up is in when I'm in heavy urban areas like a city and there's a lot of other, I guess it runs off of a Wi-Fi frequency or a cordless phone frequency, because sometimes it'll black out slightly or the cars will kind of jitter. But if I'm away from the city and on a highway or freeway, there's no problem. So it's been good. Okay, up on the roof now for number 3 and 4. We've got the Winegard Wi-Fi booster with the funky 3 antennas there. And it's held up well, no problems there. Get a good solid signal with it. I haven't busted off the antennas on anything yet, which some people thought you might do. If you were afraid you were going to a lot of tree limbs, these things just unscrew very easily, so you could come up and unscrew them if you're going to go through the bush with it. The turn-on tape for the wire run is held up fine, so it makes it nice so I don't have anything to trip on. I'll just go back down to the weBoost cell antenna, and that's all worked out fine too. It was a good idea putting it through the ladder there. It's kept it very firm and out of the way when I'm climbing up and down the ladder. And same thing, the eternal bond tape. I like running the wires with that. And there's the junction box that I have the antenna and the backup camera, and I even use the junction box for my weather station there. So let's go inside and I'll explain more about the two antennas, cell and Wi-Fi. Let's look at their amplifiers installed inside the rig. So there's where my weBoost amp was installed, and that's been a great place for it. And like I said, shown in the install video, I even installed a little switch there, so I can switch it on and off. This hides tucked up in that little cabinet there. That's all worked great. And this has worked out well, just having the little antenna up here out of the way when we're not using it, and then I just pull it out when I need to use it. It's worked pretty good at boosting our signals. It's got us online many times when we basically had no connection, which was really nice, and then often it's boosted us from a kind of a weak signal with low speed up to a higher speed signal. So sometimes if I really need to download or upload something, I'll just hook it on and do that. There have been times though where it has actually made it worse, so it's not 100% foolproof. Sometimes you're better off without it even. But overall, it's been a good unit. I can't complain. So if you remember, I mounted the Wi-Fi booster amplifier up above the fridge in this cabinet way up high, and that's worked out fine, no problem at all. Happily sits and runs up there, and it broadcasts all throughout the rig, so we can hook onto that. We call it a Hummingbird, and so we connect all our devices to Hummingbird. It worked really well in the summer. We were at an RV park, and there's free Wi-Fi for us in the town. It's broadcast throughout the town, and we were just on the fringe of it, but with the Winegard booster we were able to hook our devices through that and get it boosted up, so we were able to run all our devices with free Wi-Fi in the RV. And we were there for months, and I hardly had any disconnects or problems with it. It just happily sat there and run and boosted our signal. And I also did a mod. The mod I did where I added a DC to DC converter, because this thing runs off of 24 volts. It's a little adapter, and I wanted to run it when we're off grid too, so I made a little mod. Maybe I'll just go outside and show you that. Here's that mod I did for the Wi-Fi amplifier. This is a little 12 to 24 volt DC to DC converter with a little switch, so I just switch it on when I need it. If I need to use the Wi-Fi booster, I just come out here and switch it on. It's just wired into the 12 volts, same 12 volt circuit that's supplying the fridge. And I just pop the fridge vent cover on and off when I want to turn it on and off, which is good. It gives me a chance to have a look inside here, look for any debris, give it a clean if I want. Numbers 5 and 6 are my two Garmins, my Garmin GPS and my Garmin Dashcam up there. So both of them have worked really well. I'm quite happy with them. Especially the Dashcam. You've seen a lot of the footage in the Love Your RV videos. Really has a nice clear picture. I put in a 32 gigabyte card, and it lasts about maybe 4.5–5 hours before it overwrites the next image, so that's plenty for a trip. Also, of course, if you're in an accident or a bump or something, it'll automatically save footage. You can take a still shot of something just by clicking it. It's kind of cool, and I figured out how to mount it up out of the way there, and I ran, same with my rear view camera, I ran a line from my headlights, so when I turn on my lights, both those powered up. So I always run the lights when I'm towing anyway, so it's kind of convenient. Then they're not left on accidentally, sucking power off the truck's battery. So they're all hardwired in, and they just live up there. And then the GPS is quite a deluxe unit. It'll navigate me around obstacles for RVs. You can put it in your height and height and length and all that, and it'll keep you away from low bridges or tight areas. And all I bought for that, I bought the bean bag, and that was really good. Bean bag mount rather than suction mounting it or hard mounting it. I just put it on the bean bag, and then when I stop somewhere where, say, it's a sketchy parking lot or something, I can always pull it off the dash and hide it really easily. And then it just plugs into our lighter socket down here, so I have to remember to unplug that. But usually when I leave, I'm hiding this or taking it away. The only thing I don't like about it is the touch screen isn't very good. Like when you drag, it's kind of goofy looking. Like it doesn't really work like a smartphone. I find it really it's kind of messy that way. But that's really the only negative I have to say. I love it for the speed zone here. It'll tell you the speed zone, and if you're speeding, it'll light up in red. So a lot of times you're going through a town and it's hard to see the speed zone signs, or you miss one and you're speeding and some sheriff will pull you over. You're going 35 in my 30 zone, son. So that'll tell me exactly what the speed limit is. And it has things like elevation and stuff like that. So it's been a really good unit. Quite happy with that. No issues other than that. The touch screen is good for touching, but it's not good for dragging things around at all. Also I added a lot of the points of interest. I downloaded one from Allstays. I subscribed to Allstays Pro, which is kind of a pro version of the Allstays app that works on your laptop. And I subscribed to that. I think it's $30 a year or something, but I get the point of interest stuff. Let's see if I can just go into there and show you where to. Custom POIs, yes. So see, I have all the Allstays stuff in there, which is kind of nice. I also downloaded the POIs for Ultimate Camping. That one has all the public campgrounds and BLMs, so it's awesome. So that's kind of nice thing this thing does. And one other thing, Anne went to visit Scotland and she was going to rent a GPS, but we looked online and she was able to download the Great Britain maps. They're about $70, so it saved her from renting a GPS over there, and she already knew how to use this one and everything, so that was cool. Number 7 has been the GenTent generator canopy. You can see I've actually had to pull it out here at Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument. We've had a few days of rain, and the solar isn't keeping up, so I've had to run the generator. And their generator hours are 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening, so you don't get a lot of chance to run it, so you don't have a lot of choice. So yeah, the little canopy's really helped out. I don't have to stick it under the fifth wheel here. I can move it away, keep the exhaust and noise a little bit further from me. And the actual cover seems to muffle the generator noise a bit too, which is kind of a bonus. The only downside has been setting up those arms and putting the belt on is a little finicky still. Getting better at it, but it's not the fastest thing to do, especially if you're just sitting it out for like one day or something like that. But overall, I'm happy with it. Number 8, the Honeywell FocusPro thermostat upgrade. So I did this also about a year ago, and it's worked out fine. No problems, hasn't been acted erratic or anything like that. And it's so handy to switch from put it onto auto mode, so it'll switch to heat or cooling on its own, so we don't have to worry about at night forgetting to switch it back to heat. Because oftentimes in the desert, or even back home in BC, there's certain times of the year where you need air conditioning for a while in the day, and then at night you need your heating, so the old one wouldn't auto switch. The only negative I have to say about it is I've had some commenters and people email me saying they had trouble wiring it into their rig. So there's so many different RVs with different wiring diagrams. Doesn't seem like anything standard in the RV industry, so sometimes the colors aren't right, whatever, but seems to work fine. I have a Suburban furnace, I think it's a 30F, something like that, and also our air conditioner is a, I think it's a Coleman Mach 3, and it doesn't have the heat strip or anything, it's just a straight AC, so it seems to work fine with that. So your mileage may vary. Numero 9 is my NOCO battery box that I treated to myself to last Christmas, and so far I'm really happy with it. Luckily I haven't needed to jumpstart Big Blue with it, but I actually have jump-started 3 other people that were stranded and got them on the road quick enough. And one was a F350, another one was kind of some type of SUV, and then a small car. And also when I was back home, my brother-in-law has a big jalopy in the backyard that he just let sit, so we gave it a try with that, and it brought it back to life even though the battery was right dead. I use it all the time for pumping water into the rig. I have an old water pump, so I just made a connector for it just out of one of these cigarette lighters onto the water pump. So I just plug that in, it pumps the water in. Seems to charge fine, holds the charge pretty good. I don't have to worry about it being a lithium battery. It doesn't really lose a charge very fast, so it's always ready to go in the back of the truck. When I need to charge it up, I just put it on the cigarette lighter in the rig. Usually when the solar power, if I'm boondocking and there's lots of solar power, it'll charge it right up within a few hours and be ready to go. It seems pretty tough. It's been riding in my toolbox back there, so it gets jostled around a fair bit, and it's kept going strong. Was fairly pricey though. I think we paid $300 for it. But I saw this last Christmas around, I think it was Black Friday or something, I saw it go down as low as $199 on sale and $219 on sale. So sometimes if you can keep an eye on Amazon, they lower the price for these things. Number 10, the LevelMatePRO device I use to help level the trailer when we reach a spot. Like I say in the review before, it's been very handy for boondocking to find a nice level area before we even get out of the truck. And ever since I've installed the on-off switch for the battery, it's improved our battery life dramatically. It's not really eating the batteries anymore every month or so. It can go, I think the last battery I lasted me 4 months, and there was a few times that I left it on for quite long periods too. So overall I'm quite happy with it. Number 11, this UNI-T clamp-on Ampmeter that I picked up in the fall. It's been a really handy little device for checking my DC amperage in my solar system and my battery charging. I use it all the time for my little portable panel here. Just clamp it on the wire in here, and then it tells me how much the panel is bringing in amps. So you can see I'm bringing in an amp right now. It's quite cloudy out, but I can use this to angle the panel and point the panel just right for maximum sun. It's a nice handy quick little test, so it's been a good thing for only around $40. It's not super accurate, and I find sometimes the voltage and ohms part of it, the display is a little slow, but you know, what do you expect for a cheap little thing? Love the little size. So yeah, that was a good little thing to pick up. Quite happy with it. Number 12 was a little mod I did by installing this OnlyFire electronic barbecue lighter into our stove to get rid of the big turn unit that was there before. And it's worked out really well, a lot quieter, a lot easier to light the elements. With one caveat though, I've had a problem actually with the unit itself, and right now I only have 2 burners sparking. The third one has quit sparking. Let me just pull that apart and I'll explain what happened. Okay, here's the back side of it, and it was a 4 outlet sparker. And what happened is when I was only using 3, the empty one was sparking over to the nearby one, and it was actually robbing quite a bit of the spark. So what I did is I ended up filling one part with silicone rubber, and that worked for a while, but then eventually the sparker quit. So I think the letting it spark over like that caused some type of internal failure. At least that's my theory. What I'm probably going to do, we don't use that one element too much, so it's not a huge problem right now, but I think I'm going to order, they have another one that's only a a 3-element sparker, so I think I'm going to get one of those. They're relatively cheap. I think it's like $9, so I'm just going to get a whole new block and continue on, and hopefully that'll solve that issue, because we really like the new spark. It's a lot better than that old turnstile one that was so loud. Number 13, the Easy Snap window shades. So I found this one, especially on this window, has been quite useful, as I normally point the nose of the rig into the midday sun. And so this one gets quite a bit of sun, especially the morning, even up to noon. And that's where Anne sits behind that one for her computer. So normally she was always putting that the foil in there to block the sun out. But since we've got these shades, it blocks just as much heat and light as the foil, but it also allows us to open the window inside. We get some air coming through. So the snaps have held up really well. They're easy to get on and off with the little tool. Let's go around the other side here, show you the snaps. They were put on with 3M adhesive, and they've had no signs of coming off at all. And also, some people were wondering about whether the rubber on the slide would be damaged by the snaps, but I haven't had any evidence of that. It just seems to go across it no problem. I have it on the big back window, and I have had to use it a few times. There was an RV park where we had to park with the sun streaming in, and also at Lost Dutchman, the spot we were in, we had a lot of the evening sun coming in, so it was nice to be able to throw that easy shade up there. And as far as storage, let's go back around here, show you where I store them. This one I just usually throw in that compartment, but the main one I just put underneath in the front compartment above my pool noodles, and it just sits up there out of the way. It's lightweight, ready when I need it, but very easy to store, so thumbs up on those. Number 14 has been Angie's new pet cot. It's been a really good addition to the rig, especially down here in the desert. Keeps her up off the sharp rocks. She's getting to be an old dog now, so she really appreciates not having to lie on the ground or anything. And also keeps her a little cleaner, so she's not dragging a bunch of stuff into the rig. And for storage, it's really easy. Here we go, Angie, good job. The legs here just pop off, so I just pop off, they just press fit, so I just pop them off, and then I can set it on top of my regular camp chairs in the basement, so it stores really easy. And to clean it, I just hose it off, so that's been a really good buy. I think it was around $20. Number 15, my WasteMaster hose mod. That's worked out really, really nice. The storage boxes stayed under there, no problem. I was a little worried it might be too low, but I've been all over the country, boondocked and in and out of fuel stations that have quite the humps in and out, you know, like culverts and stuff, and hasn't even come close to grounding out, so really happy for that. And I also use it all the time on dump stations. It's so nice just to pull that hose out and throw it in the dump hole, and that's all there is to it. Open the valves and dump and put her back. I'll throw up a few photos here of some of the dump stations I've been at so you get an idea. So I pull that out, throw it in the hole, do my dump. I'm out of there in no time, while other people are still dicking around with their hoses and flushing them out and washing them out, and you know, they got their gloves on and they're trying to put the connections, pull them out of their bumpers and putting them back in their bumpers, all dripping and stuff. So this has been awesome. I would do it on every rig I get from now on. It's a little pricey, the hose and the setup, but once you've used it for a while, there's no going back. Numero 16, my California duster. So I've had this a couple years now, and it actually gets better and better with age, just like they said. I use it all the time to keep the big blue dusted off, looking sharp in the desert. Also, I use it on my solar panels, take the dust off it. Not gonna work so good right now with all this rain. But sometimes I'll get up on the roof and it's a quick dust off, and the ground panel especially gets dusty. And one other use it's really good for is if you want to dust off your Beagle. Works really well. She actually doesn't mind it. Gets rid of the Beagle hair and all that desert dust off the old Beagle. There you go. All done. Number 17 is my Warner telescopic foldable ladder. All kinds of uses for this thing, and it stood up really well. I've had it for quite a while now. It's in all kinds of weathers. I just leave it out in the rain, rides in the back of the truck. All I have to do every once in a while is spray some silicone lube into the hinges here, and keeps going. It's made of aluminum. So what I've really been using it a lot for lately is in boondocking to keep my portable panel in place. I just run some bungee on it like that, and it's withstood some pretty big winds, no problem. It's beefy enough to keep the panel in place. Number 18, numero 18, my fantastic vent covers that I've installed. So this one now is coming up on about 3 years old, I believe, and it's still in fantastic shape. Hasn't really deteriorated any. I've heard some people say they had problems with it cracking on them, but I haven't had that. I love the quick snap-offs there with the cotter pins. Makes it really easy to pull it on and off. I have seen one bad thing with them though, and it only happens really occasionally, but you can see they have quite big openings, which really what enhances their airflow. But I have had times where it's really raining heavily and really windy, and if the wind is coming at just the right angle, it'll push quite a bit of water through there. And so there have been times where I've actually had to close my vents because of water coming into through them and onto the rig's floor. But I'd say that's like, less than 1%. Most times they're covering us fine. So like here where we are, it rained all night and all morning and hasn't been a problem. I've left all my vents open, so we're not getting any condensation inside the rig. Number 19, we're getting close to the end, is my heavy-duty rubber chocks. You can see them right here. So they're super heavy-duty compared to the plastic ones. They're made of solid rubber, and they're going to outlast the trailer. What's going to go wrong with these, really? And they seem to hold the trailer better than those plastic ones. And also, I can't be a fool and damage them by running them over. I don't even think I could pull over these. They'd block so well. I did find a big downside, though, for a lot of people. Even I've had these over a year now, and they still have a pretty good odor to them. Kind of an oily, rubbery smell, kind of a nasty smell. Doesn't bother me. You don't smell it in the campsite. And they live in the back of my truck when I'm underway. But if you have, say, a Class C, or you're storing them in a Class A somewhere, you would notice it right away. So you might want to put them in a little plastic bucket or something like that that's sealed. But overall, I think they're much better than those crappy plastic ones. And finally, number 20, the screen door grab bar. I don't know why I didn't do that right away. I don't know why they don't come with a grab bar. It's been a great addition. Love it. I recommend everybody get one if they don't have one. Right, Angie? Yeah, get a grab bar. Well, there you go. 20 upgrades and kind of a roundup update on how they've been performing over time. Hope you found that useful. I kind of raced through them all because I don't want the video to be super long. So I've created a blog post on loveyourrv.com, so I'll link to that, and it's a little more in-depth. And it also links to all the original reviews, so you can go check those out if you like. Also, I've done this in the past. I have another roundup video. There's some of my older upgrades. I think there's pretty close to 20 as well. I've done so many to the old Cougar, so I'll link to that as well if you want to check that out. But in the meantime, Ray from loveyourrv.com. I'm hoping these clouds break up so we can get back out there and do some hiking and photography in this awesome park. This is Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument. It's just a beautiful campground. $16 a night. It's all dry camping. They do have a dump and a sewer and fresh water fill, but look at these spots you get for $16. They're nicely spread apart and everything. Just beautiful. So, take it easy everyone. Cheers.